So the first red flag I have observed is basically when I gave you the data model, you did not ask me any clarifying questions. So that's like one of the biggest red flags. And so when you started writing SQL, you started off with seek select and then you wrote sum of ticket count. So that is the biggest red flag that any candidate could perform, right? So as an interviewer, if I am in a real interview, so I would definitely consider it as a biggest red flag because you directly jump into the solution without clarifying on what approach to use. That would clearly waste your time on writing all of this code, and then it will also give you a bad impression that you are following another optimum approach, right? So it's always better to think of multiple different approaches to solve the problem and then pick the one that is comfortable for the interviewer as well. So I would definitely consider this as rejection.
Hi Sean, thanks for taking the time to talk with us today. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, hey Nick, thank you so much for having me here. So yeah, I'm Sean. So I've been at Meta for almost 4 years. I've been a data engineer for almost 8 years now. So at Meta, I'm currently in Reality Labs org. So on a day-to-day basis, I usually build data pipelines using Spark, Hive, Presto, and Airflow, etc. And also build some dashboards as well. That's a brief about me.
Great to hear your introduction, Sean. So yeah, before we dive into the real actual tech screen mock interview, I have a couple of questions to ask you. So can you tell me and our audience a little bit in your interviewing experience at Meta? So how many candidates have you interviewed for this tech screen? How long have you been doing it from, etc.?
So coming to my interviewing experience, so I have been doing a lot of interviews for almost 3 years now. So I've been taking tech screen interviews and interviewing a lot of candidates. So I've almost taken 500 plus interviews until now.
That's great to hear, Sean. Okay, so lastly, before going into the mock interview, I just wanted to ask you one thing. How does like this screening, like technical phone screening interviews work at Meta? So what are generally asked? What is the parameters? Like what is the timeline? Can you tell us about that a little bit?
Yeah, so Texan is usually the first screening round before the on-site stage. So in tech screen, we'll assess both SQL and Python pass. So usually the tech screen round is for 1 hour. The first 5 minutes is for introductions. The next 25 minutes is for SQL. And the next 25 minutes is for Python. And the last 5 minutes is for asking any questions and providing some feedback. So usually for SQL, so we will provide a data model with 3 to 4 tables. And then there will be 5 questions for the SQL. And for Python, so there will be different Python questions and there will be test cases. The candidate has to pass 3 SQL questions and 3 Python questions in the time limit in order to pass the test screen.
Got it. So for the SQL as well, will there be an expected output that candidate can, look and verify into?
Yeah, for every SQL question, so there will be an expected output. The candidate has to execute and then basically match his output with expected output in order to pass.
Okay. Can there be a provision that we can skip one question and go into the next question while doing the interview, or it has to be definitely like one after the other?
So all these questions are sequential. So you need to basically solve them in a sequential order. So you cannot skip any of the questions and go to the next question.
For example, if I saw a couple of questions, after that I saw a third question and then I wanted to skip that and go to fourth question, I cannot do that.
That's right. Yes.
Got it. Okay. Lastly, what would you say is the passing criteria? And then I know that you have mentioned like 3+3-ish. So can you talk over that a little bit?
Yeah, usual criteria is to solve 3 SQL questions and 3 Python questions in order to pass. But there are some exceptions here. So let's say if a candidate has solved 4 SQL questions very strongly and then could only solve 2.5 Python questions in a given time, then, and depending on the interviewer, he might be a pass. So similar, and vice versa with like Python as well. So if he solves 4 Python questions and then he could only solve 2 or 2.5 SQL questions, depending on his answers, his optimal answers, etc. He may be a pass. So it depends on the interviewer.
Understood. Got it. Okay, sounds good. Thanks for all of these insights. I think, yeah, it's about time we kind of jump into the first section, which is the SQL section of like the tech screen mock. Let's go there. All right. Yeah, Sean, thanks for navigating me to this coding environment. Yeah, we can start the interview.
All right. So yeah. Let's do this interview for 25 minutes. So I'll provide you a data model in the beginning. So yes. So here's the data model that you can see on screen. So there are 4 people right now. So one is movies, and then one is directors and sales. So which you can also think it as ticket sales, and also we have viewers. Okay. So now this is a data model that we're going to use in this entire interview. Please go to the data model and let me know if you have any questions.
Okay, so we have movies, which are like the movie titles, I guess. And then it has a director, and the director is here. And then it has first name, last name, birthday, URL. And then sales. Okay, I figured that this is our movie sales. Movie ID is there. Okay, customer ID is there. Okay, sales table doesn't have the director ID, it seems, right? So sales is connected to movies and movies is connected to directors. And then there are viewers. So, okay. Viewers and customers, both the same, right?
That's correct.
Okay, cool. Okay, I think I'm kind of okay right now. We can probably move forward.
Cool. So if you don't have any questions, I'll go ahead and paste my first SQL question here. So, this will be my first SQL question. So you need to find the total number of tickets sold and unique number of movies sold, grouped and sorted in descending order by payment channel.
Total number of tickets sold and unique number of movies sold. Grouped and sorted in descending order by payment channel. Okay, so we'll have 3 columns in output, I guess. Payment channel, total number of tickets, and unique number of movies. Okay, can I get the expected output, please?
Yeah, and let me paste the expected output over here. Yeah, so this will be your expected output.
Got it. Okay, there is 3 columns: payment channel, total tickets sold, and unique movies sold. Okay, so there are 3 columns. So payment channel, tickets sold, unique movies sold. So first, let me take the payment channel, I guess. Okay, now the total tickets sold. For this, I think I need to go to the sales table. In this, we have a column ticket count. So we can say probably sum of ticket count, because each row can have multiple tickets, as we can say total tickets sold. And we can also say unique number of movies sold. So in the sales table itself, we have movie ID. Okay. So we can say probably count of, yeah, this is a foreign key here. It's not a primary key. So I think we need to use a distinct movie ID as unique movies sold. And then we can say from, everything is coming from sales table here, sales. And then, yeah, it also says sorted in descending order of payment channel. So order by payment channel and then descending order. So, okay, let me try to run this. Okay, the error says sales.payment channel must. Okay, I think I might have forgotten the group by clause. So let me put the group by here and then let me put payment channel. Okay, let me try to run this. Okay, 7633. Okay, I think we got it.
Well, yeah, so your output matches with the expected output, so which is really cool. Yeah, I have few questions here. So in the order by class, instead of, okay, so you are using theme and channel. Okay, that's perfect. Cool. I think I don't have any questions here. So let's move to the second question then.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm just commenting out the first one.
Mm-hmm.
So this is your second question. So yeah, you need to find the top three customers who have generated the highest total sales with the people that dedicated for it.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Top three customers who have generated the highest total sales through the people they directly referred. So we just need the customers, or like we need both the customer and sales, or what do we need to do?
So will we paste the expected output so you will have it more clarity on that?
Okay. Okay, we need the three customer sales. Okay, but there are only two here.
Okay.
But we said we need three. So does that mean like only those people that have sales we need to consider? The people that doesn't have sales we don't need to consider. Is that the case here?
That's right. Yes.
Hmm. Okay. So I think this again I'll start with like so referrer customer ID, total referred sales. Okay. Maybe this I'll start with like the from. Okay. So from, I think I need to take the customers because, or the table name is viewers, I guess. So I need to take the viewers because this has both the customer ID and referred by customer ID, right? And then for the sales part, I need to join it with sales because total referred sales will only come from sales, right? So V is here on V dot customer ID equal to S dot customer ID. Okay, this will have all of this. Now, by referrer customer ID. So referrer customer ID. So referred by customer ID. I think that is what we need. Group by refer by customer ID. And in the select, we need to have a refer by customer ID as referrer customer ID. And then probably sum of the what is the sales, not what is the column, total amount. Can I consider the total amount column from the sales?
Uh-huh. Okay. So why would you want to consider the total amount column? So yeah, is there any other way to do it?
There is like total amount minus tax percentage minus discount, that is net, right? So yeah, just
Yeah, we just like need the sales. So okay.
okay, cool. So sum of total amount as total referred sales. Okay, and then okay, this one has this thing. Probably okay. We need top three, right? So we can say order by the sum of total amount. Okay, DSC, because it is ordered by the same thing, by the sales. Okay, top three, right? So that is what, and limit 3. Okay, let me run this. Okay, seems like in the first row, okay, so there is no referrer customer ID for many people, and then that is getting triggered as like the first one. So which we need to avoid, I guess. So then what I would like to do is do a where clause here and then say v dot for customer ID is not null. Okay, let me try to run it now. Okay, referrer customer ID, total referrer sales, 10 in 2015. Okay, yeah, it seems like it is matching my out.
Awesome. That's cool. So why did you put down this base filter?
Because like here, if you see, there might be many customers who are not referred by anyone. So all of those are getting summed up and showing it as the first one. So the null is showing up as first one in the referrer customer ID. So wanted to exclude it to match with the output.
Got it. So you wanted to exclude the customers who have not been invited by anyone.
Correct.
Alright, that makes sense. Yeah. And so here, I think you're considering an inner join, that right?
Mm-hmm.
So why don't you consider a left join, and why only an inner join? Yeah.
Because here we are seeing top 3 customers who have generated sales, and then I can see this referrer customer ID, total referred sales. Nothing is none or blank on the total referred sales side. So I just assume that we only need those customers who have made sales. If they did not make sales, we don't need to include those. That's the reason why I did not consider the left join.
Okay. Cool. And my next question would be, like, do you think there is an other way to approach this problem without using any order by and limit?
Okay, if we are not going to use order by, then probably we need to perform a rank function over that sum of total amount column. So yeah, we'll perform a rank, and then we can take that as a CT. We can take the rank as a take the output with the rank as a CT, and then in the bottom do the referred by customer ID, sum of the total referred sales, where rank is less than 4. That's what I do.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Okay, that's perfect. So you use a window function here. That is definitely, a solution. But again, so disclaimer to all the audiences here. So Meta usually doesn't encourage any window function usage in the interviews. So please do not use any window functions. So instead of window functions, try to use order by and limit if it's possible. Okay?
Okay.
So I have another question here. So I see that you're using sum of total amount in the order by class. So why don't you use total referred sales over there?
Yeah, I think we can use it because order by comes anyway last in the SQL execution order. So we can use that, not a problem.
Since you spoke about SQL execution order, can you just like talk about what's the SQL execution order and why does it matter?
Yeah, SQL execution order is the way that the SQL compiler looks at a query, right? So we need to, when a compiler, we can write the queries starting from select all the way to limit, but when the compiler looks at the SQL query, it takes a look at from statement first, and then where, and then group by, then having, then select, then order by, then limit. So since order by is after the select in the execution order, we can use aliases that we have in select in the order by.
Nice. Oh yeah, that is correct. That is correct. So yeah, so now let's move to the third question right now. So let me copy paste the question number 3 here. So you need to find the total number of directors whose portfolio URL begins with HTTPS and who have never sold a movie ticket, and compare it with total number of directors.
First thing, do you mind if I copy this question on the top?
Yeah.
Okay, let me do that so that I have the access to the schema. Okay, it says find the number of directors whose portfolio URL begins with HTTPS. Okay, and directors, there is a column portfolio URL. Okay, begin with HTTPS. Who have never sold a movie ticket. The movie ticket part is, I think, they're in sales. But sales is not directly linked to directors, so we have to link the movies. Okay. All right. And then what it says? It says compared to the total number of directors. Okay. Compared to the total number of directors. Okay. All right. So I'm trying to break down this problem into two problems. Okay. So first, I want to calculate this, and then later I want to calculate this, and then join them both together. Do a cross join because it's a single value, base single value, I guess. That's the approach. But can I get the expected output once?
Okay, sure. Yeah, let me paste the expected output once. Okay, here you go.
Yeah. So this one is a single value. So this one is a single value. So I'll calculate this separately, and do a cross join so that we have the final output. Yeah, that's how I want to proceed. Is it okay?
Yeah, the approach is fine, so you can proceed with coding.
Okay. First, let me try to do this. Okay. So then we can do from, and then we can do directors first. D. I think here with HTTP and no sales. So probably better to do a left join, I guess. So left join, and then we cannot connect with sales directly. So let me connect with movies first. D dot director ID. Okay. M dot director ID. And then I'm going to do a left join again to get sales on M dot movie ID, I think. Okay. It's equal to S dot movie ID. Now I have directors, now I have sales. So now what I need to say is like directors with HTTPS no sales. So where URL, portfolio URL. This is from directors. And it says it starts with HTTPS. So let me put this here and put a percentage. Okay. So this is the URL is starting with HTTPS. Now I will do a left exclusion join. So here what I need to do is like count those directors where there is no sale. That means we have to also do where s dot id, I think sale id is null.
Okay.
And then I should just do count of distinct d dot director id as directors. This is simply cnt. Okay. Let me try to check if I'm on the right track first.
Okay.
So, okay. Okay. What does it say? Okay, there is no select statement here. Good. Okay, the count is 6, but actually the given count is 3. Interesting. Yeah, I have done count distinct. So when we say sale is null, it is saying 6, whereas it should say 3. Okay, am I doing everything right? Okay. Can I get a hint maybe what's happening? I think I'm going in the direction, but yeah, can I get a hint here?
Yeah, so think of this scenario. Let's say if a director can direct multiple movies and maybe only one of them is unsold and remaining gets sold. So do you think, are you including that movie or director in this result set?
Oh, damn. Okay. I think I kind of understand why. Okay, got it. Okay. So, okay, so it seems like, okay, when there is like more movies and only one of them is unsold, even those directors are getting counted in. Whereas they should only be counted when there is when there are no movies or like no sales together all total. Okay, let me modify this a little bit. Maybe I'll remove this and then I will just put a group by. Okay, and then I will say t dot director ID. Okay, and then what I'll do is like I'll try to directly count the number of sales they made. Okay, so I will say sum of, or yeah, sum of case when the sale ID is null or like not null. I can do that, or I can, I think, pretty much count the this thing, the sale ID from sales. So whenever it's null, the count won't take that in anyway. So as total sales, I guess.
Okay.
Or okay, and then we should say they have never made a sale, right? So I think we can do a having count of all sales equals to 0. Then I think probably we don't even need this here. Okay, let me try to run this now. Okay, CNT does not exist. Okay, select start. Okay, there are 3 people, which is what we want, I guess. So of director ID from this thing. Okay, I think this one is sorted now. Now I want the total number of directors from the other. So let's say this is A, and then let me do a cross join, and then total number of directors, right? So select count of star from directors, assuming the director ID is a primary key. So it should be only 1 row per director. Okay. Now I should put a from, and then I would say select as this one. I would put as CNT, and then this one I put as dir. So select dir as this thing and CNT as this thing. Directors. Then we run that. Okay, yep. It says must have an alias. So okay, 310, 310. Okay, there we go.
All right. Okay. So this is good. So basically, your output matches with the expected output. So which is really good. But I have a few questions here. So usually cross join is kind of like not recommended in queries. And you're also basically scanning the director's table twice, right? So can you think of a different approach where you can optimize this query and then only scan this director's table only once?
Okay, I can first, before going to that, I think first let me clarify for the cross join. So the only reason that I use cross join here is like I know the output from this is 1 row, output from this is 1 row. So there will be only one comparison that will be made versus where usually when there is a cross join, there is n square comparisons, right? N into n. So that's why I used a cross join, because there is only a single row and then it would not cause any complexity. But yeah, on the other part where you mentioned, I kind of get it. So I'm using the directors table once here and also the director tables again here. Like I'm using it twice. So maybe one approach to kind of tackle that and optimize is like, maybe we are doing this having count is equal to 0, right? So probably what we can do is we can just put this count here. Okay, and then we can say count of director ID directly as like the total number of directors in here, and then we can also say sum of case when the director count is equal to 1 or 0, when the count of sales is equal to 0, then 1 else zeros as like the number of directors with no sales. But okay, there is one problem with that approach, I guess, because we're also doing a where clause, so I need to eliminate this. I guess I need to eliminate this and tackle both of these in a case when statement in the bottom, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I copy this query and then like
Do the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So first let me comment this out. Then let me comment this out. Okay. And then we can say this. and then we can deal with this as well, right? So case when like then true equals false. Case when your portfolio or like HTTP else false as um okay, let me put it another line. So no flag. Okay. And then we can also say count of s dot sale ID as sale count. Okay, and then group by director ID, and then because we are also using this, probably we need to also group this.
Okay.
Let me remove this entirely, I guess. Okay. Okay, let me comment this out. Okay, so now we have this. I just want to do a select star to see how this is doing. Okay, it says okay as so. Okay, I missed an end. Okay, wait on it. Oh, this is still there. Okay, let me comment this out. Okay, let me run this. Okay, we have true or false portfolio flags, and then we have true or false sale counts. Okay, we said is like then true, else false. Okay, okay, we have this thing. So from this, I think we can get it. So, what do we need? Directors with HTTP no sale. So case when this portfolio flag is true and sale count equals to 0, then 1, else 0, and then let me count this. No, let me just sum this because I'm using 1 and 0 as this thing. Okay, and then just simple group by. We are doing a group by already in director, so I don't need to do a distinct. So count of director ID as root directors. Okay, let me try to run this. Okay, there we go.
All right. Yeah, I think this looks great. So yeah, I was expecting the same solution. So yeah, that's awesome. So I think that wraps our 25 minutes of SQL down. So yeah, I think it's time to provide some feedback.
Okay.
So I have noted down some feedback. So while you're doing some interview, so I have few good things and bad things to note here. So I'll start off with some of the good things. So I think the good things in this interview and then the way you approach the solutions are kind of the when I first basically when I gave it a question, sure didn't do directly did not jump into writing, the solution. So you kind of like thought about it, you kind of like thought like what kind of tables you did your, preliminary analysis and then came up with like what kind of tables to consider here and then how can you design the solution. So that's a really good thing. So you should not always directly jump into the solution at any point of time. Try to, basically ideate your solution and then try to implement it fully. And the second good thing or a green flag is, so you are basically reading through the error and then debugging your code. So whenever you get an error, you have to basically clearly read out the error message and then make necessary changes to your code. So that is a very positive flag. So most of the times what candidates do is whenever they get any error, they go stuck and then ask the interviewer for any hint. So the hint is again itself in the error message. You should always know how to read to the error message and then where to make the code changes. So that's my second positive green flag. And the third one is, so whenever I asked you any follow-up questions, you did not take time and then you immediately responded with like either a different approach or an optimum solution. So which is a very great thing. For example, for the third question, I asked you for a different approach, and then you immediately gave me an approach first, and then you in fact implemented it very quickly. So which is a very positive green flag. So you need to always like know that what kind of different approaches you need to follow. You need to always basically know what are the different possible approaches for a particular problem, and then be ready with these solutions. Yeah, I think those are the positive flags or green flags. Yeah, now I can talk about some of the red flags here. So the first red flag I have observed is basically when I gave you the data model, you did not ask me any clarifying questions. So that's like one of the biggest red flags. So if you are not asking any clarifying questions, that means you are not trying to, understand the data model here. So there are multiple nuances here. So it's, for example, let's say for sales table, you could clarify what is like a total amount. So it's like very ambiguous right now, but you can clarify it like on like whether like quantity is included in it or excluded, or like is it including everything else like tax percentage, discount percentage, etc., or is it excluding it, etc. So you can clarify some of these things so that interviewers will understand that if candidate is trying to dive into the data model and then before diving into the questions itself. And the second thing is for the first question. So when you started writing SQL, you started off with seek select, and then you wrote sum of ticket count. So that is the biggest red flag that any candidate could perform, right? So as an interviewer, if I am in a real interview, so I would definitely consider it as a biggest red flag. Because again, any experienced data engineer would write the SQL in the execution order. So you should follow the execution order while you're writing SQL as well. Like from should be first, and then where, and then group by, select, order by, limit, so etc. Right? So you need to follow the SQL execution order. So that's a very big red flag. And the next thing is, so when we move to the second question, so what I observed is you directly jump into the solution without clarifying on what approach to use. So you basically try to use like order by and limit. But what if like an interviewer is trying to think of a different approach in his mind? That would clearly waste your time on writing all of this code, and then it will also give you a bad impression that you are following some another optimum approach, right? So it's always better to think of multiple different approaches to solve the problem and then pick the one that is comfortable for the interviewer as well. So yeah, and that's the next biggest red flag. Yeah.
Okay. So I have a couple of questions. So I know that I have not followed the SQL execution order. That's on purpose for the first one. But later I tried to follow the SQL execution order, and then you have asked me what is the execution order, and then I answered, right? So if I did not provide that answer, and then if I have not followed SQL execution order for both second and third questions as well, what would be your assessment?
Yeah, so I would provide basically this feedback in the portal. But again, like for me, so I would definitely consider this as rejection. Yeah, it depends. So it depends on the level you're interviewing for. Let's say if you're interviewing for a new grad position, I might consider this as a pass. Okay. But let's say if it's for an experienced role or an E4 or an E5 role, I would definitely consider this as a rejection. Because I think that's the least that interviewers expect when you're doing a coding interview.
Okay, got it. Yeah, and then on the clarifying questions, so I tried to ask a few clarifying questions, but not too many, right? So if let's say I did not actually ask any kind of clarifying questions, directly jumped into the code without talking to you for, and then I just went ahead, what would be your evaluation?
Yeah, as I said, like, not asking any clarifying questions is a biggest flaw. You should not directly jump into the code without asking any clarifying questions. So, I mean, like, meta interviews are designed in a way such that, like, you need to clarify your question first because all these questions are ambiguous if you look at them, right? So, it's always good to ask clarifying questions, clarify entire thing, and then jump into the solution.
Got it. Okay. So based on my performance today that I've given during the last 30, 40 minutes, Would I be a pass or a fail?
Yeah, I think for you, it will definitely be a pass. I think you have ticked out like on most of the good practices, and then you have basically solved 3 out of 3 SQL that we are expecting with negative expected output, and you also gave 2 approaches to the third question. So then you are a pass.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sean, for detailed feedback, detailed input, and going through this exercise with me. It's really helpful for me and also the audience to understand the text screen interviewing process at Meta. So, yeah, I hope to do another session with you for the Python part.
On it. Thanks, Nick. Thanks again for inviting me over here. I really enjoyed our conversation today. Hope to see you in the next market review.